My name is Elena Wright. I'm 29 years old, and for 3 years, I thought I was building a future with a man who secretly enjoyed shrinking me. It didn't start cruelly. It never does. On the outside, Ryan and I looked solid. Good jobs, a clean apartment, mutual friends, long-term plans spoken softly over late-night dinners. We met at a summer barbecue through friends, laughed easily, and moved in together after a year and a half. People called us stable. I believe them. But stability can be an illusion when disrespect learns how to smile. Ryan had a habit, a small one at first. He'd make comments about how emotional I was, how deeply I cared about things most people brushed off. He said it with a grin, always around friends. Relax, Elena, I'm joking. And I'd laugh, because that's what you do when you don't want to seem difficult. Over time, the jokes sharpened. My hobbies were cute but pointless. The way I dressed was trying too hard. The way I loved, openly, sincerely, became his favorite punchline. His friends laughed every time. Not awkward laughs, real ones. I told myself I was imagining it. The night everything broke was 3 weeks ago, at his friend Mark's birthday dinner. 8 of us crammed into a trendy Italian restaurant downtown. I was exhausted. Work had been brutal, deadlines collapsing, 12-hour days blurring together. I almost stayed home, but Ryan insisted I come. Halfway through dinner, someone mentioned Valentine's Day plans. Cabins, weekend trips, fancy surprises. Then someone asked Ryan what we were doing. "Oh," he said, smirking. "Elena booked that French place she loves, and she wrote me a handwritten letter about her feelings." I smiled, until the table erupted. "A letter?" Someone laughed. "What is this, a period drama?" Ryan grinned wider. "I know, so extra. Just get me a drink and call it romance." The laughter burned. "I thought you liked that," I said quietly. "I like normal romance," he replied, "not emotional essays." Something in me cracked. "You're too sensitive," he added casually. "Not a real woman." The words landed heavier than the laughter. I stood up. "Maybe," I said evenly, "but a real woman doesn't stay where she's mocked." Silence. I paid my share, left the table, and walked out, my hands shaking, my heart strangely calm. Ryan didn't follow, and that told me everything. Later that night, while I packed a small bag, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. "Hey, Elena, it's Maya, Ryan's friend. Can we talk?" I stared at the screen, unease crawling up my spine. I had no idea that message was about to rewrite everything I thought I knew. I didn't reply to Maya's message right away. I sat on the edge of Claire's couch, my best friend, my emergency landing place, staring at my phone while the city hummed outside her apartment window. Ryan had called me 7 times by then. Texted apologies, voice notes, long paragraphs that said everything except accountability. At 2:14 a.m., I finally typed back. "About what?" Her reply came instantly. "About Ryan and about you. Please call me." Something in the wording unsettled me. Not us, not what happened tonight, just Ryan. I called. She picked up on the first ring. "Thank you," Maya said quickly. "I wasn't sure you would." Her voice was tight, restrained, like someone holding a door shut with their shoulder. "I'm listening," I said. There was a pause, then she exhaled. "What Ryan did tonight wasn't okay." I waited. "He does this," she continued. "Not just to you." My grip tightened on the phone. "Does what?" "He dates women who are emotionally open, caring, expressive." She hesitated. "Then he mocks them for it, little by little, in front of people." I felt dizzy. "That's a serious thing to accuse someone of." "I know," she said softly. "That's why I stayed quiet for so long." Silence stretched between us. "After you left tonight," she went on, "he laughed, said you proved his point, that you couldn't take a joke." The room tilted. "I thought he was upset," I whispered. "He wasn't," she said. "Some of us pushed back. Told him he crossed a line. He shrugged it off." "Why are you telling me this now?" My voice shook despite my effort to keep it steady. "You've been friends with him for years." "Because I've watched him do this 3 times," Maya said, "and I'm done pretending it's normal." I closed my eyes. "Did he ever actually love me?" I asked. "Or was I just convenient?" Maya was quiet for a long moment. "I think he loved how you made him feel important," she said carefully. "But I don't think he knows how to love someone without needing to feel superior." Something inside me shattered, and strangely, something else settled. We talked for another 20 minutes, about his past relationships, about the way he'd always apologized just enough, about how he complained about me behind my back, framing himself as the patient boyfriend of an overly emotional woman. Everything clicked. The jokes, the dismissiveness, the way my pain was always framed as an inconvenience. Before we hung up, Maya said one last thing. He's already telling people you'll come back in a few days. I almost laughed. That's not happening, I said. 4 days passed. Ryan texted nonstop at first. Apologies, guilt, anger, confusion. Then came the accusations that I was abandoning him, that I was dramatic, that I was throwing away 3 years over one bad night. On day 5, while he was at work, I went back to the apartment. I packed everything I owned. The lease was in his name, something I'd never questioned when we moved in. He'd said it was easier that way. At the time, I thought he was being practical. Now I understood. Control doesn't always look aggressive. Sometimes it looks prepared. I left my key on the counter. And a note. Ryan, I've moved out completely. I'll send money for my share of this month's utilities. Take care. Nothing else. No hope, no nostalgia, no open door. That afternoon, as Claire helped me load boxes into a storage unit, she didn't ask many questions, just handed me water. Sat beside me in silence when my hands started shaking. You okay? She asked finally. I will be, I said, just not today. I didn't know it yet, but Ryan wasn't done trying to rewrite the story. A week after I moved out, Ryan showed up at my office. Security called me down to the lobby like they always did for unexpected visitors. When the elevator doors opened, I saw him immediately, unshaven, eyes red, wearing the jacket I'd bought him last winter. My stomach dropped. We need to talk, he said, standing as soon as he saw me. No, we don't, I replied. My voice surprised me. Calm, flat. Elena, please. He took a step closer. I made a mistake. I didn't move. I've been in therapy, he added quickly. My therapist says I have issues with vulnerability and humor as a defense mechanism. I don't care what your therapist says, I interrupted. 3 years of disrespect doesn't disappear because you booked an appointment. His face tightened. You're being unfair. I almost smiled. You spent 3 years telling me my feelings were a problem, I said quietly. 1 week of insight doesn't undo that. He looked around the lobby, lowering his voice. Is this about Maya? Did she say something to you? She told me the truth, I said. About the pattern. About how you laughed after I left that dinner. Color drained from his face. She had no right. She had every right, I said. You don't love me, Ryan. You loved feeling bigger than me. That's not true, he snapped, then softened immediately. I was joking. I didn't realize it hurt you this much. I told you, I said, multiple times. Silence. Please don't come here again, I added. I'm at work. I turned away before he could respond. That night, I booked my own therapy appointment. Not because I was broken, but because I needed to understand why I'd stayed so long. Dr. Maida didn't sugarcoat anything. You were in a relationship with someone who needed you to be small, so he could feel large, she said during our second session. That isn't love, it's extraction. The word stuck with me. I learned how often I'd apologize for needing reassurance, how many times I'd swallowed discomfort to keep the peace, how deeply I'd confused endurance with loyalty. Meanwhile, Ryan tried new tactics. Flowers showed up at my office with a card that said, I'm sorry. I donated them to a nursing home down the street. A new Instagram account followed me. I blocked it. Then came the message about a box of my things I'd forgotten. Books, a jacket, kitchen tools. He asked if he could drop them off. I told him to leave them with my building manager. When I picked them up the next day, the manager pulled me aside. He tried to get your apartment number, he said. I didn't give it to him. Something cold settled in my chest. He wasn't remorseful. He was desperate to regain control. 2 weeks later, I ran into him again, by accident. I was out with coworkers at a bar when Ryan walked in with a woman on his arm. She looked younger, nervous, hopeful. He saw me immediately. His expression shifted, shock, anger, then something performative. He pulled her closer. 10 minutes later, he was standing at my table. Elena, he said, can we talk outside? I'm good, I replied. Please move on. You've already moved on? His eyes flicked to my coworker beside me. She's my colleague, I said, and it's none of your business. You're really done? He pressed. 3 years and that's it? You were done respecting me a long time ago, I said. I'm just catching up. His face hardened. So you're going to punish me forever over one bad night? It wasn't one night, I replied. It was a pattern. You just didn't notice because I kept forgiving you. He waited, for tears, for hesitation, for something. I gave him nothing. He left with the woman shortly after. They didn't touch on the way out. Later, my friend raised her glass. That was impressive. It felt necessary, I said. Still, I knew the real closure hadn't come yet. 3 months have passed since the night I walked out of that restaurant. My apartment is small. 1 bedroom, uneven sunlight, no shared memories echoing in the walls. I furnished it slowly, intentionally. Everything here belongs to me, and only me. The quiet no longer feels empty. It feels earned. Ryan stopped trying to contact me about 6 weeks ago. Maya told me he's still telling his version of the story, how I overreacted, how I gave up too easily. But she also told me something else. He's dating the woman from the bar, and the pattern has already started. He makes jokes about how emotional she is, Maya said when we met for coffee, about how she reads too much into things. I heard him say it myself. I didn't feel smug. I felt free. Some lessons aren't meant to be repeated by the same person. Therapy continues once a week, not to reopen wounds, but to reinforce boundaries. Dr. Mehta helped me name something I'd never understood before. Kindness without respect is self-erasure. I stopped erasing myself. I say no without apologizing now. I pause when something feels off instead of rationalizing it away. I trust discomfort as information. Last week, a man from work, Daniel, asked me out for coffee. Nothing dramatic, no grand gestures, just kindness, curiosity. When I mentioned I'd had a hard day, he didn't joke. He listened. That alone felt revolutionary. Ryan never reached out again after the bar. Maya said seeing me calm, unbothered, and unreachable unsettled him more than any confrontation ever could. And she was right. People ask if I regret leaving the way I did, if I should have warned him more, explained myself better. I gave him 3 years of explanations. Sometimes the clearest boundary is silence. I don't hate Ryan. I hope he figures out whatever made him need to feel bigger by making others feel small. But that work isn't mine to do. Mine is this: choosing environments where my emotions are not mocked, where care isn't currency, and where love doesn't require me to shrink. I'm not too sensitive. I'm exactly sensitive enough. And the right person will never make me feel like that's something to apologize for.